Time is 12:42. Today's 21st of April 2012. My name is Abbas Tamori. Hello and Aloha to all the people of the planet, the Baha'is and non-Baha'is alike. As I said before, this is a huge project, and I have committed myself to transliterate this writing of Baha'u'llah, which is very hard to translate it in English directly and keep its composure as poems. So we're continuing right now from lines 50 to 55. Baha'u'llah continues to talk about the spring again. It's a comparison that is drawn between the revelation of God as the spring and the springs that we have our own concept of it, and not the natural spring. So he goes, ما برویش در بهاران اندریم. Ma is us, two, be means two, ru means face. This she at the end is a pronoun, means his countenance. Darin, Baharan means the springs, and darim, inside. Literally it means to his countenance. We are inside the springs. Inside the springs. Usually, ru means face, countenance, so you have to see the face. But Baha'u'llah says, this face of God and the countenance of God and the presence of God is within. You have to be within this spring, not from outside to look at this spring. Usually we look at those outside, so this is a spring. But if you're within this spring, that's how he says, we are the countenance, his countenance, in the springs within, and darim, within. And in a contrast, he says, ما ز رویش در گلستان ننگریم. Golestan means garden. Setan, I said, where there is lots of something, where you can find that. So gol means flower, gol setan, golestan, which golestan is the natural word, but in here, in the poetry, we have to say ما ز رویش در گلستان ننگریم. Sometimes it says gol setan, but in fact right now you can pronounce it in the right way. ما ز رویش در گلستان ننگریم. If you notice again, there's two rhymes, Golestan and Baharan, both ends to an, aleph nun, which is the rhyme. Also Nangarim and Andarim. So there are two lines again in this poem. So in the contrast it says, we of his face in the garden we do not look. And in the Negarim means look, Nangarim means we're not looking. Baha'u'llah says we're not looking for his face in the garden. This garden does not again mean a natural garden. What it is that, for example, you see a lot of movement that takes place at our own time. Somebody starts something. Let's give you a very good example. The Odyssey of Mr. Nelson Mandela. He started, and within his lifetime he saw the spring and he saw the result and the fruit. So you could see it. Baha'u'llah says, no. Baha'i faith is a huge project for the planet Earth, and it has an organic way of getting things done. If you understand where it's going, although it's not there, you could see its victory. You could see it's a spring. Apparent spring, that it comes into the power. So in the Golestan, which is the flower garden, which is an illusion, implies any success story, whether material, social, even sometimes spiritual, that happens in a lifetime of a founder. It's a segment, as Baha'u'llah says, it's a fast, it's the beginning and end. You will see it. Baha'i faith, he says, is not like that. You have to be within the spring to know that this spring exists. This is what exactly it means. We are not looking at the flower, at the gardens for this spring. We are within this spring to see the content, the face of God. On the next line, Baha'u'llah says, ما به ذکرش فارقیم از ذکرکان. Very peculiar word. ما ز شمسش بازقیم اندر جهان. Again, there are two rhymes. فارقیم, بازقیم, ذکرکان, and jahan. There are two rhymes in one line. ما, we, به, to, ذکر, mention, ذکرش, his mention, we to his mentions, were delivered, فارق, were away, were separated. We are out of it, he says. Of what? As ذکرکان. ذکرکان is a plural. A and N make the word ذکرک as a word. But it's peculiar because ذکر means mention. Okay, the mention of God is ذکر of God. But he adds to the ذکر a K, ذکرک. Now, this K at the end of some words, it makes the noun to be a small. Okay? Let me there's a lot of examples. For example, any words. I don't know. I can think of some very familiar. I've been away from Persian language for 27 years, at least during the talking. So to concentrate to find both words at the same time, sometimes it's difficult. This is not very difficult anyways. For example, let's say khers. Khers means bear. If you say khersak, means a little bear. Rubah means fox. If you say rubahak, means a little fox. Anything that you can add the K at the end of it, many words. Some of them you have to use che at the end. For example, baq means garden. When you say baq che at the end of baq makes it a small garden. And other times you use K at the end. It's a Persian way of adding a K at the end of words, many words, that makes it a small, brings the size down. For example, tefl, good example I was thinking. Tefl means a child. Teflak, if you say that, means little child. So Baha'u'llah says, zekrak, little zekr, little mentions. He says, for his memory, we are delivered. We are out of this little mentions. Quite literally, he means prayer. Small prayers, he says. We're out of the small prayers when we are mentioning him. Some people, they might think that prayer to God, as Baha'u'llah has revealed, in other religion really, I haven't seen a prayer of Lord, maybe one prayer of Jesus Christ. There are few prayers in Islam, some of them are very nice, but they're not, in comparison, they're like a drop of the writing in the Baha'i faith as far as the prayer concerned. These prayers is not a reference to the Baha'i prayers or any divine revealed prayers. These prayers is the prayers that people make, our own make prayers. Baha'u'llah says this is not how we think of God, by prayer to these little prayers. Some people asking, so what is this prayer? I said, prayer revealed by Baha'u'llah, consider it a website address. Consider it an email. When you say those words, the feeling that generates out of those words, it creates a spiritual key that makes connection. Very important. Otherwise, he would have not revealed this prayer. So, pray to God as you wish. So, it can be changed. Certainly, we can have our own prayer to our God because it makes us to feel good. But it's not going to create any connections. God says how to connect to me himself. So, any other way of connection, it would be zekrak, the little tiny zekrs and little prayers that people have. That would not have any effect in connecting you to God. It will, however, make you to feel good. There's no problem. If I write down my own prayers right now, I probably can write good, nice, beautiful prayers. It's not authentic. I was not going to get myself anywhere, never mind you. So it has to be the prayer of Baha'u'llah, Abdul Baha and Shawi Effendi, because they are infallible being. This infallible is not a joke. It makes them outside of the realm of ordinary human being. They are not ordinary human being. They are human being, but there's something else besides that. We just do not know what that is. So Baha'u'llah says to his memory, we are out and delivered out of this little zekr. In contrast, he says, ما ز شمسش بازغی من در جهان. We, he says we. This we, by the way, is not referring to himself at all. He's not referring to the divine group such as himself, Muhammad, Jesus, Bab, Baha'u'llah. No. In here, Baha'u'llah is talking about himself as a human being and every other human being on the planet that is on the journey towards God. They know that the path is not a simple path. The curriculum is revealed in the Baha'i faith, but it is really outside of it in many ways. You have to have your own trail, offshoot of the main highway. So he says, Maud the Shamsash, we from his son. She means, again, pronoun, the word is Shams, S-H-A-M-S-H, Shams. This ash at the end means his son. We of his son, Bawzagim. Bawzagim means we're taking light. When you're getting light from something, you're getting enlightened. We of his Shams, enlightened in the world, in the universe. So he says we are enlightened from his son, meaning we are there. We take the light directly reflect on us. We're not away from him that we have to send message of the prayer. We're there. I remember in one of the stories, very amazing, that when Abdul Baha was in the United States, well, him being an old man, speaking, Persians. Translator he had was trying to translate. One of the Americans said to the translator, just please stop. Let me listen. Well, I said, he's speaking English. He's speaking Persian. He says, no. He's just speaking my language. I've written a poem on that. That when God shows his own face, when the truth is sitting in front of you, what is the point of descriptions? What are you trying to describe? Which truth you are going to talk about and translate it for me? It is in front of me. I see it. That American said something very strange, What a great insight and discernment we have to see what he felt that day, you see. When the truth is in front of you, you do not need to mention it. So Baha'u'llah says, prayer is a way, and an email, whatever is a connection, then addresses a letter to him. We're in there, he says. We don't need to pray. His light directly comes to us. So that's what the second line is. Now it's bringing two lines, very similar, for two way of explaining two different things. He says, Gar nasimi barvazat zin khosh bahar. If a breeze, if, I means a, breeze, barvazat blows, wafts over, of this, zin means ze in, or actually means as in. Both aleph here and aleph there between z and I is been omitted to comply with the measures and the meter and the rhythm of the poetry. So as in becomes zin. If a breeze wafts over of this beautiful khosh bahar spring, if a breeze wafts over from this beautiful spring, یوسفان بینی که آیند در نظار. Yusuf, Joseph's, A-N means many Josephs. Yusufan, the Joseph's bini. Joseph's bini, you'll see that آیند, that they come, در نظار, in observations, in the sight. He says if a breeze wafts over from this beautiful spring, you'll see many Josephs that they come in sight. Yusuf, which is the name of Joseph, is a symbol in the Persian language of the most beautiful being. Because Joseph, his face was so magnificently beautiful. So it has become a symbol of a beauty, a beautiful man, So he says, if a breeze wafts over from this beautiful spring, you'll see beautiful men, beautiful people, which is Yusufs. Yusuf means beautiful people. Also, many beautiful people you see that they come in sight. Now, before I go this, I'm going to go to the second line because again he's continuing with the same idea. Gar nasimi barvazad zin bustan, if a breeze wafts over from this bustan, means again garden. I said golestan before, garden. So is bustan. We use both as a garden. Gol means flower, where the flowers are. Bustan means where the fragrance is. Bu means smell, fragrance. Setan means where there are lots of bu. So bustan means where you get definitely a flower garden, bustan. Golestan could mean flower and even other things. But definitely bustan is where there's lots of flower. So it says, if a breeze wafts over from this garden, before said bahar, now it says garden, Yusufan ruh bini dar jahan. Before it says, you'll see the Josephs, which are the beautiful people, that they come in the sight. Now he says, the beautiful people of a spirit, beautiful spirits, he says. Ruh, Yusufan ruh, not Yusufan just a, transient or material or tangible. This is intangible. Yusufan ruh being, you'll see, in the world. Baha'i faith has two effects. Shoghi Effendi says that let the good things be done by the good people. You Baha'is try to teach Baha'i faith. So there's two aspects in the Baha'i faith. We do believe there are a lot of great good people in the world. In Canada, I seriously admire Terry Fox, the young man who walked thousands of kilometers in defiance of the disease that he did not approve of it. He says, I will kill you or you kill me, and he's killing the disease, but he gave his life. This is that Yusuf. He's not a Baha'i, but he is a Yusuf. And Baha'u'llah says, when this revelation comes, you will see thousands of those. People like Terry Fox are very rare 600 years ago, 700 years ago. If there is one, there's like a huge hero. Today in the planet, there is like thousands of them in every nation. People who sacrifice their life. One of those Yusuf is Bill Gates. You see how much this man is giving. He's not getting him anywhere, but at least he's trying, isn't it? What a try he's doing to fix something that is keep coming back, like little children to try to fix something to stop the water from something, but the water from the top breaks the dam again, and they keep fixing and it just keep coming back. So, but nevertheless, he is a Yusuf. Yusuf is beautiful, Bill Gates is beautiful. Terry Fox is beautiful. I wish I knew more of them in let's say in Australia. I'm guilty. I have to know more about Australia. New Zealand. Susan Marshall, well, she's a Baha'i. The man in England that I saw a movie of him, he fought in the parliament against the slavery in the parliament in England. There have been many, English people as such, many of them. There's thousands and thousands of them in every field and in every area, everywhere in the world. So he says, from this spring, this beautiful spring, just a breeze of it that's wafted over, you'll see thousands of Yusuf, General Yusuf. But, he says, again, if another breeze wafts over from this Bustan, which is again the Baha'i faith, you see the Yusuf of a spring that are coming in the world. Unfortunately, the non-Baha'is, they do not know how many Baha'i heroes right now, everywhere in the planet, they are literally sacrificing everything they have. The pioneers, the teachers. People in Iran are doing it right now. Does America know about Martha Root? No. A barrage of them right here. I don't know. Never mentioned. This shows the state of oblivion of the Anglo-Saxon race. Who's responsible? The Baha'is are. We Baha'is haven't wakened them up. It's our fault, by the way, if they're not waking up. It goes like that, I, who studied all my life the Baha'i faith, I'm not doing my job to awaken the Baha'is. Baha'is are not doing their job to awaken their own people in there. And Americans and the Anglo-Saxons, which are the harbingers and the forerunner of this new civilization, so-called, the age of democracy in the planet, they're not doing a good job to waken up the rest of the people in the earth. And it goes on. This is domino effect. But if one breeze of it comes, it says, Yusufal Naru bini dajaron. The spiritual Joseph you will see in the world. Which, Martha Root is on the top Then he goes further in the last line. He says, you know what's going to happen? He says, جسم ها بینی که گردد همچو روح. This is amazing. جسم ها. جسم means body, definitely. جسم ha means the bodies, plural. بینی, you will see that. گردد becomes همچو, like a spirit. He says you will see the very body turns into a spirit. Then he goes, he says, Ruh ra, but what happens to soul? Ruh ra, the spirits, har dam, every dam means second, every moment. Resat will reach sat 100 gun types, likes. Fotu. Fotu is the plural for the fat, means victories. So in the first line it says, actually you will see the bodies turn into a spirit, and spirits will have in every moment hundreds types. Gun means gune. Actual word is gune, but the hair is fallen for the poetry's sake. Sadgun means 100 ways. Victory. Why would you see جسم ها بیند جسم ها بینی که گردد همچو روح? Where would you see the bodies becomes like a spirits? That's an amazing union will have to happen. I believe someday my son asked that, could there be, Daddy, a speed bigger than the speed of light? I said, of course. He says, well, you always answer, give an answer, because then it's a revolution in the world of science. I said it is, because we here in physics, I believe it's the second law of thermodynamics, that the entropy increases with time. Entropy means disintegrations. This law tells us everything disintegrates as the time goes by. Okay. Well, I see this disintegration in the world of physics happening also through the speeds. When we speed up, things will disintegrate. You take a car, go too much speeds, it turns into fire. Then fire turns into light. It comes to a point that in the speed of light, no structure can exist except the structures of a particle. Even an atom breaks down, disintegrates, and that is speed. Only particle speeds. So the speed of light, so-called, is really the speed of particle, which is in contrast. That means the higher the speed, the less organization, the less integrity, the less structure. The structure will become destroyed in the speed. In that case, why should the speed of particle be the final speed? After all, we know particle is made out of quark. So if the proton accelerated to a higher speed, it will disintegrate into quarks. We don't see quarks because we cannot see or register such a speed. There is a speed of quark, must be, because quarks, one proton is made out of 6 quarks. So you are generating a higher speed definitely if the structures of the proton becomes smaller yet. And who knows, and who can say quarks is the block building material? It probably is made out of other subparticles. And as Baha'u'llah says, this will go forever, as the mathematics of chaos says. It's infinitely small, there's no end to it. But I believe at one point, Abdul Baha gave us a little point. He's talking about the spirit of imaginations. He says, actual imaginations is a speeding. That's how you can imagine, he says. In that case, if we have a particle, subparticle, subparticle, way smaller than that quark, I was calling it imaginum. So the speed of imaginum, if matter can go to that speed, in that case, you could see almost the matter turned into a spirit. It's an state where the matter and the spirit come in contact. They become almost of the same quality. This is what Baha'u'llah says. جسم ها بینی چه گردد همچو روح. You will see the bodies, not exactly the body of man even. All the bodies are called jism. Ajsam means the bodies. You will see that they turn into soul. How matter turns into spirit. Particle imaginum. That's what Abdul Baha says. And the spirit itself, he says, in every moment will receive hundreds and hundreds of discovery, of victory. That is, an state. When I turn into Baha'i faith, for the records, I haven't read much books at all. Let's see. As a child, I used to read children magazines called Kehane Bachaha, Children's Kehan. I was about 10, maybe to 12, to 13. Okay. Then I went higher. What books I read? I read the book Les Miserables of the Victor Hugo, very small, tiny little abbreviations of the book. And then it was The Man Who Laughs of the same author. Then I think I read a few books of Dostoevsky. Really fully written those two books, it would be The House of Death, Karamazov Brothers, and Crime and Punishment. All right. I read one small story of Leon Tolstoy. I read a couple of stories of Jack London. Have I read any other novels? No. Any other books? Not really. But here and there I've looked. But I've seen a ton of movies, Hollywood movies. So if I ask me that, where did you get the wisdom from? I told him I didn't read the book of wisdom, like the quotations from these wise people. Not really. I read the stories. Within the stories, I saw the wisdom is hidden. Especially in the movies I saw. I'll tell you how I look at things. There was this movie, Artificial Intelligence, the story of Dave. You see this movie? Artificial Intelligence. I saw the message of the movie was that the man, the biological man who was made to love, failed to love and got destroyed. And one robot who was mechanized to love, that love made him to survive after humanity was destroyed. So that was the message. This is how I see the message in things, you see. But when it comes to the Baha'i faith, oh yes, I've studied Baha'i faith. Not reading, a study is very different, okay? I read the word of Baha'u'llah. For me, when he says and, that and is not like anybody else and. That and is a different and. To me, it has its own message. Who is saying and? This is the Lord of the universe speaking. It's not an ordinary man. It's not another being from some other planet. That would be the same in my opinion. They might be grown a little older, faster, even 1,000,000 years older. So what? They're the same intelligent being. They're exposed to the same bad and good. But Baha'u'llah is the pure spirituality. He's the God of the universe. That is so amazing to me that such a being has actually paid attention to this speck of dust called planet Earth among countless planets. So we are blessed, because he walked actually on this earth. So, I was going to say that, because I haven't spoken to others to see, but myself, when I read books of Baha'u'llah and I speak, all the time new ideas come out. So much so that when I go back and read it myself, I can't remember I said it. Sometimes I have to contemplate to see exactly what I said. Is this a revelation? I don't know. But find myself. I read sometimes my poetry. I'm amazed. And this is written when I was 17, 18 years old. How did I say those things? I say to myself. It seems there are many me's, eh? Which one is on the podium now? All right. So this is 5 line. And oh, I'm so much waiting to see some of those Australian Anglo-Saxons from there, or Arizona or Texas. They come down into the faith. They will do some heroic work that just dazzles the mankind, the whole mankind. These guys are hidden gems and they're coming up. Yes, these cowboys are going to take the cause of God up to the height unbelievably. Whatever you read, you will have a new standard set by them. And what's bravery and what is sacrifice. See you again.